of the series.
Thank you, Riv. And I'm sure, well, we know most people weren't expecting that result first game, except for Zyrene.
Hey, we said the series, not the first game.
Exactly. There are still
the
plenty.
first game was the series.
I said 3-1. So
plenty of games to go. Plenty of games to go. So let's look at this matchup. And what I want to talk about here is the two very different styles that these teams approached this best of 5 with in the first game. You have CLG, multi-threat, Team Liquid, straight up team fight.
I really, really, really liked Counterlogic Gaming's pick and ban. They steal the Vlad away from Phoenix, and it's Zion Spartan on Vladimir. I love Zion Spartan on carry top laners that can split push, that can apply pressure. And Zion was the best performing player on that team. That top lane, Vlad, did amazing work. Did pretty okay in the one-on-one against Piglet, got more fire in the quas, had the pressure lead, turned it into like 2-on-1 dives. That was awesome. The whole split push team comp of the 1-3-1, the Link goes sits in the bottom lane. This was all fine, and CLG had this great holding pattern of we're going to keep pressuring you, we're going to keep the map pressure up, and 20 minutes in, they have this sort of ill-fated dive where like they 2-on-1 Piglet, they kill him, they get the turret, those guys back out. Zion and Smithy are safe. Bottom lane, they 3-on-1 Quas. They actually force Quas to flash away from his own turret, and they have the guaranteed kill on the inhib turret. CLG's doing a bunch of crazy, awesome things, and then Link Destiny's in. And then, the entire game goes to crap from there. But, the game plan of CLG was great. And I think if they can, keep doing that the entire series, and they'll likely win the whole thing.
I like the game plans from both of them a lot. I think CLG, the fact that they ran this split push comp, like you said, against Team Liquid's comp, because Team Liquid's comp has no wave clear.
Yeah.
Right? It's Urgot mid. Graves will have to walk up Buckshot ulti. Yeah. They'd have to use a lot of ultis to clear side waves. So 1-3-1ing is the perfect strategy against this Team Liquid lineup. I would suggest banning the Sejuani.
I agree.
Because I think Sejuani is a big game changer if you are caught in chokes. And even if it is engaged on, you can kind of 2v3 sometimes with Sejuani and keep people off a turret very easily.
Yeah. Well, and your high-fat junglers are scary.
And that's the thing, the Sejuani proved to be a huge issue when it came to those team fights that Liquid was able to engage, which CLG was trying desperately to avoid. Obviously, we saw that after those unfortunate misplays, and that's what I want to touch on first, as you said, Freak, is CLG had this fantastic game plan. Everything was going well. They played out the early game fairly well, have the lead, they have the map pressure, and then they make a couple individual misplays, and if we're going to look at one person in particular, Link, probably. He was our question mark at the beginning of the day, isn't necessarily performing up to the standards we would expect, and it puts them on the back foot. They lose all the pressure they have on the map and allow Team Liquid to make aggressive plays as in their jungle.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about punctuation, Link went from a question mark to a colon open parentheses, which is a sad face for the emoticon people out there. There were some good plays, like the mid lane semi-dive where he pops ult and says, oh, Sejuani and Graves are coming. Awesome play. His destinies overall, except for the one where he dives Quas, were really good. His ganks were good. His pressure was good. He was making a lot of good things happen. And then, he would misstep forward and get acid huntered.
Blue card, red card.
Yeah, he did his best threshold impression and locked the wrong cards a lot of the time.
Damage.
It's just, it's heartbreaking because it's the same song and dance. It's like, Link did so damn well at the start of the split. And he's like, no, I want my spot back on the team. He tried out for his own spot and got it. And CLG had faith in him. And the beginning of the split was so good for Link. And then we get to playoffs. And Link can't lock gold cards anymore. And it's heartbreaking. And I don't even know what CLG fans feel like, but it must be 10 times what I'm feeling here. Because it was so exciting watching CLG play this well finally again.
I do kind of want to swap over from CLG's performer there to a performer on Liquid with Piglet.
Yeah.
Piglet stepped up this game. And Team Liquid as a whole were funneling resources into him, sideway farm. He wasn't even getting a big CS advantage over Doublelift. It was the experience advantage, the fact that he got solo lane experience. He got to take jungle camps when they were up. He comes up level 17 to level 14 before a crucial fight, and then he just has those base stats. He has the rank 3 ultimate across multiple people. That is what Team Liquid should be doing with Piglet on the team, and it's taken them a little while to adjust to that, but it's good to see Dominate step into that role as somebody who's the facilitator of the fights, who just allows Piglet to do his job at the level that Piglet wants to do it.
I want to jump into our replay because we're talking about kind of the breakdown of CLG and Team Liquid's ability to put Piglet in a spot to carry and roll through the enemy team. We're going to go late into the game. This is post-Baron for Team Liquid in CLG's jungle. And here, Freak, I feel like CLG was a bit stubborn in trying to control their own jungle when they're on the back foot.
Right, so this is the moment that, like, CLG is trying to avoid the entire game. It's like, okay, you have a split push, we have a split push comp, you have a team fight comp, CLG for the first 25 minutes, split them up the entire time. And then once Team Liquid gets that leg back in, they say, great, let's force team fights. We have Baron, we have map pressure. So let's pull the clip up. You can see what happens when a team fight does actually happen. Whether they've got Baron buff or not, let's just roll the clip out, and you're going to see that it's just very hard for CLG to actually win this kind of a fight. Smithy's out of items at this point. He's leased in. He buys a QSS. He actually gets rid of his own, the swap on him and everything else. But there's just no real team fight powers. Okay, they stun up. They try to lock down Urgot. Well, guess what? Urgot's tanky, and your only damage source is Lucian. All right, well, Urgot's going to get out. Okay, well, how about we kill Sejuani? Well, you can try, but again, Lucian's only damage output, and Sejuani's going to get out. And then Vladimir joins the fight, and he tries to do a little bit of something, but now Xpecial's in the front line, and they can't get through Xpecial. They got burst, Piglet takes down Doublelift, and the big tanky Alistar. Just Team Liquid have a bunch of beef. There's not enough consistent damage. It was unfortunate Zion Spartan couldn't quite get the right targets hit here. And obviously, CDR build, Twisted Fate's not going to do a whole bunch either, and just a team fighty, tanky comp, can't get surprised very easily because who are you going to burst? No one. And then you just get to roll over them with stats. And, CLG tried so long to get away from that, but once they slipped up and they gave away Baron, they couldn't avoid it anymore.
And what I would have liked to have seen there was for CLG to concede their jungle for the duration of that Baron buff. Say, all right, we screwed up in that bot dive. We gave you a lot of gold and pressure back. We'll concede our own jungle until your Baron buff rolls out. And then we'll go back to creating pressure in the side lanes with the TF and the Vladimir. And just avoid fights and reestablish that gold lead and just start, powering up again.
It's a tricky situation because Team Liquid have been taking a lot of turrets down. And they're getting gold. But they haven't all shopped yet. So, CLG's up here in gold to Team Liquid, and it climbs up, but they haven't bought items yet. So in terms of inventory status, they're still kind of like this, and CLG's like, look, if we keep letting them take control of the map, this goes this way, and then we can never fight. And there's no way we get control back, and CLG takes a calculated risk to say, look, we're not good at team fighting. They're obviously better at it. But if we're ever going to win a fight, it's basically now. Didn't work, obviously, and you could even argue that it was wrong to even try in the first place and not just play an entirely different style. I at least understand the reason behind the thought.
You want to touch on that real quick before we move on?
Yeah, because there's a lot of things with that scenario when you look at them in the jungle with the Baron buff. You seed your jungle, you seed vision control. They can go between the two turrets very easily. And here's the thing is once that team has Baron buff, you can't 1-3-1 them anymore.
True.
For the duration of the Baron buff, you can't touch them. So this team's just going to group up as 5 and siege. Despite them not having a lot of wave clear, they now have the pressure to push up to the turret. They will take that turret. You have to walk off the turret because they will engage you. Alistar can dive you, even at an inhibitor turret. If they group up as 5, whether or not it's in the jungle or under a turret, they're going to get dove, they're going to get fought, they're going to lose multiple turrets in part of their base. So the big flaw there is the fact that they even gave up the Baron in the first place. Because once you're in that scenario with that team comp, it's almost impossible to actually get out of that scenario positive.
I agree.
I keep juggling around in my mind, and I don't think there's a way
it's a tough call to make, and Freak, I think the point here is that, look, they're in a bad spot. They're making split-second decisions and understanding that they do have the disadvantage when it comes to the team fight. This was a calculated, this is the best opportunity we have to win a team fight. Let's take it.
Because it's a 4-on-5, too, because Piglet doesn't show up until later.
Exactly.
And they almost get some guys off the field at the start. And on top of all that, you're fighting them in the jungle, not around their Baron buffed up minions.
I want to jump to our final point here, and you mentioned Piglet. Let's go back to our AD carry matchup. We heard them both say, we heard Piglet say, winner of the first game is going to take the series. That's got to be a huge boost in confidence for that team, and Piglet as well, as he wasn't very happy with his own performance coming in to today, pulling up that 6-3-7 in that game. Do you think that this is a matchup that can sway back both ways?
Well, here's the thing is you look at those stats and CS differential at 10, 20, all these things, CS at 10, Doublelift seems to be superior, but the fact that Team Liquid was giving Piglet more experience was the crucial part of that matchup. And so if CLG want to match that, they have to funnel into Doublelift at the same time.
Piglet was in a 1-on-1 lane, Doublelift's in a 2-on-2, so XP just is different. Also, you're the AD carry of a winning team. Your KDA is higher. Who's surprised with this at all? Doublelift wasn't part of the CLG strategy. And we talked about it in the pregame, right? CLG's about Link and Zion Spartan going and doing cool things now. And okay, they missed that, then, the game slipped away. But Doublelift is clearly still a contender here. If we get to see them match in lane, I do want to see that 2-on-2.
That being said, I do have to say, early game, although there was a CS advantage for Doublelift, it was 0-1-2 to 2-0-0 in terms of kills. So Piglet, yes, taking a bit of a hit in the CS, but getting that experience advantage.
He roamed.
And he was picking up the kills. He was getting those roams. There was a great roam mid. Unfortunately, Link was able to pop the Destiny and avoid it, which was a great play by him. But all in all, I do think that Piglet played that game very well. We'll see if he can, roll that into the next game. Now, Team Liquid have gotten series first blood, but we'll see if CounterLogic Gaming is able to come back in our next game when we come back after the break.
The other team over there just scraped on by, right? We spent the entire regular season. Maybe we fell short at the very end, right? But it doesn't take away from our hard work. The fact that you guys played a hell of a season.
But they might use it here onto Link. There it is. He gets the flash lockdown position reverser. They're going to eat up Link. The culling is going to pretty much miss 99%, but he's still hitting the autos. Still in the back equalizer. And that was a huge equalizer from Quas. And they get double. They would love to dive, Jet, and they do get the AD carry, the highest priority target that you want. Doublelift goes down.
TF. I got an ulti. We can end off this.
Holy shit.
We can end it. Nice. Good job, guys.
Game 1 is very nicely going over to Team Liquid as they brought it back into their favor.